I am Julie Allball. I am editor of Wedding Market News, and we are bringing this Wedding Market live inside the minds of top bloggers, and we have such a great panel today. So we're so excited about bringing this. You can also tweet with the Wedding Market hashtag along with Wedding MBA, and if you have questions that you would like to ask this panel during our chat, please tweet with the Wedding Market hashtag. I will be looking at your feed. So as you, I hope that you will also share tweets on Twitter during the chat as well. Well, at this point, I'm going to go ahead and let our panelists introduce who they are and what they do, and then we'll get started.
My name's Harmony Walton. I'm the founder of a company called The Bridal Bar. We have a blog called Bridal Bar Blog, and we have a destination weddings blog called Jet Fete by Bridal Bar. I'm also the host of a weekly talk radio show on iHeartRadio called Bridal Bar Radio.
My name is Kristen Maxwell Cooper, and I am the deputy editor of The Knot. I oversee the content in both the magazine and online.
My name is Lila Lewis. I'm the owner and founder of Be Inspired PR. If you saw at the booths yesterday, we're the girls in all pink. And I also started a blog called Inspired by This, and I'll be talking about that today. Hi, my name is Kelly Cleal. I am the founder and CEO of Loverly, and most recently published author of the Loverly Wedding Planning Guide. I'm actually Lila's sister.
Hi, I'm Chris Easter. I'm the token dude up here. See you guys over there. How we doing? I'm the co-founder of the Man Registry, which is a gift site for grooms and groomsmen. I'm the founding editor of Groom's Advice, which is a wedding blog for men, and also the author of Be the Man, the Man Registry's Guide for Grooms, which is a step-by-step planning guide for grooms through the engagement and wedding planning process.
All right, my first question, Chris, if you want to start, is how you got involved with blogging.
Well, as I mentioned, we co-founded a gift site, which was a groomsmen gift site, is also a gift registry for grooms. And as we were researching the launch of this, we noticed there was a large gap in wedding content resources targeting men. So we started a Groom 101 section on our website, which then ended up spinning off into groomsadvice.com, which is a separate wedding blog for men. So just saw a gap in the market and thought, guys, it's an important day for guys too. So that's where we got our start. Blogging has led to a lot of cool stuff for us, the book that I mentioned before, and a lot of cool opportunities such as this.
So Loverly just launched our content hub last July. We were aggregating content from a number of the top wedding bloggers. That was our model, was we were pulling in content, beautiful images, making them searchable, and we started seeing things that were trending in bridal, from colors to themes to styles, and our team internally thought it would be interesting to share those trends with our audience. And so we started putting out content 3 to 5 times a day. And much like Chris, it also has brought a lot of great opportunities, one from driving audience, but also brought us to publishing our first book.
When I started Bridal Bar Blog, it was really a self-serving reason to start it. It was back in 2006, before traditional wedding blogs as we know them today didn't really exist. And my company was working on the Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes wedding at the time, and really I wanted another outlet to sort of promote that and what we were doing. So it started as more of kind of a self-fulfilling promotion wheel, and then it evolved into more wedding inspiration, expert advice, and ideas in order to keep that audience coming back. So when we did have something to promote, we had an audience paying attention.
Okay. Well, Harmony, why don't you talk about what platform do you prefer to use? Is it WordPress? Do you use others? What?
We originally started out on Blogger back in the day, and then eventually switched both of our blogs to WordPress exclusively.
We actually have a custom CMS, so that we built just for The Knot, called Weddit, and so we have a lot of really great tools within that. It's not very helpful for you guys, but well, I've heard great things about WordPress.
We use WordPress for Inspired by This, and for my clients and vendors that I work with and do consulting with at Be Inspired PR, I highly recommend WordPress. I basically use it and recommend it for all platforms for vendors that are trying to get into blogging and starting your own blogs. It's great for SEO. It has great plugins that we'll talk about a little bit later to get SEO, to get searchable on Google, and to plug in with your analytics. So I think it's really easy to use for all of you if you want to get into blogging. We originally launched our blog on Tumblr, and there wasn't a lot of flexibility there. We moved to WordPress, which is where we have been working primarily, but as we've grown and now we have 30 or 40 contributors, we've actually built our own custom CMS as well. I don't recommend that for anyone here that is running their own business. WordPress is definitely the way to go, and Tumblr is a good option if you just want to put out fast, easy content. I would also recommend, there's a new platform called Medium, and that's actually a really popular one. There's a community based around it as well.
I would echo all the WordPress love going on up here. And also, if your company sells products, WordPress has, they just acquired WooCommerce. So if you do sell products, it's a great e-commerce extension. It's, in my mind, it's like second only to Magento out there for e-commerce. So I would look into that if you're not happy with your current e-commerce situation.
Mm-hmm. Now, Chris, what do you feel is the benefits to blogging?
The benefit in my experience has it helped brand me as an expert. So in the groom world, which albeit there aren't many experts are out there in the groom world, but, so we kind of took charge of that through blogging, became the recognized go-to name. It also is a great way to build your social following and your awareness of your company out there. If you just have a website and you don't provide any content or put out any blogs, you're just going to get lost in the shuffle. Whereas if you're out there interacting with your followers via content and social media through your blog, it's just a great way to grow business.
For us, creating content 3 to 5 times a day has actually grown our audience tremendously without having to spend dollars on marketing. So putting out great engaging content acquires brides at essentially a zero acquisition cost. If any of you are looking into getting into blogging, what I think it can do for you is publish your own work, get your work out there, and then have it searchable. So when a bride is looking for a wedding in Ohio or a particular style, a trend that you do and that you design, and you have those keywords, which we'll talk about later, in the blog, in the post title, and they're searching and they find you, they may find your work that they would have never seen before had they not search for that. So it gives you an opportunity, almost like a platform for you to constantly put your work out there. And I think that does also relate to social media. And I know we're not talking too much about that today, but as it relates to Instagram, which is almost like microblogging, little snippets of what you're doing, little snippets of your blog posts. The blog post is great for SEO, again, to make you searchable, and then the social kind of helps promote that.
I think the searchable aspect is so important. SEO is such a powerful tool. I also think that couples are really, nowadays, these millennial couples are looking for authenticity and they're looking for personalization. And creating a blog and creating content is going to give them a little, a little glance into you and who you are and what you can provide to them and how you can make this experience personalized for them.
For us, it really took us from a local brand to sort of a global brand and allowed us to make the market all one. So, couples are no longer just shopping, like the example of searching for a photographer in Ohio. They're no longer just looking for the best wedding photographer in their local market. They're looking for the best wedding photographer. And blogging really allows you to grow beyond your local market that way. I think for wedding professionals, the other big thing it can do is really keep your portfolio up to date. It's a simple, more cost-effective way typically to do that than going through your website. And as we know, millennial couples want things yesterday. And so if you've got your content constantly being refreshed and current and updated, they're going to see kind of objects in motion. You're working, they want to work with you, they get to experience your personality a little bit, and they go dive a little deeper beyond just your website.
Yes. Well, Harmony, as far as when you decide on a blog topic, how do you keep it fresh? How do you get these different topics?
You know, a lot of what we publish are things that we're actually seeing in our day-to-day business. So if you're a florist and this year everybody's coming to you with purple wedding ideas, then maybe that's a topic you can blog. When you're in doubt or kind of running dry on creative, unique content, we always look to the calendar, things that are coming ahead. Based in Los Angeles, we look a lot to Hollywood. So if the Oscars are coming up, what content can we publish that ties into search related to people throwing Oscar parties in the weeks and months in advance, so that we look at a calendar, maybe it's National Ice Cream Day, and we can do a post on that ahead of time so that when people are searching that content, we have a better opportunity of coming up, and it's timely and relatable, and everyone loves an ice cream cone.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite things to do when I'm trying to come up with new content is just look at things just look at topics in general. So just looking to see what's happening in fashion, what's happening in beauty, what's happening in the culinary scene. First and foremost, and what's trending in those topics, and then putting the wedding lens over that. So so that you're talking about things that people are already talking about, and then just putting that wedding lens over it.
I agree with all of that. Basically, what's happening right now and how it relates to you. So, you know, you're a videographer, you're a florist, whatever it is that you're doing as it relates to what's currently trending so that you can be in the conversation. And when people are Googling and searching, your post comes up for those current trends. One little tip I would recommend is there's a very powerful tool on Facebook in the right corner, and it says trending topics. And it shows what people are talking about on Facebook and sharing. Twitter has a very similar one. Not all of them are going to directly correlate with your business and bridal, but if you can join the conversation that's already happening by contributing your own point of view. So if you see that a celebrity is engaged and it's trending on Twitter, maybe you want to write a post about how you would actually create, flowers or whatever it is for that. So looking at what's trending across social platforms is a great way to get content ideas.
Yeah, I think trending is the buzzword for this. Google Trends is another great tool. It's just googletrends.com, and it's real-time data on what's trending currently in Google searches, as well as you can look at historical data for certain keywords, wedding trend-related keywords. You can see what's rising or declining over time. Also, studying your Google Analytics and see what kind of post or content you've previously put out that has done very well for you traffic-wise, and also what hasn't. And that data can be used to kind of drive your ideas for future blog posts.
Mm-hmm. Now, at this time, if you would like to submit questions on Twitter, you can. You need to use the Wedding Market hashtag. If you want to also keep joining the feed, you can go to weddingmarketchat.com and you can see the feed as it's going through. But submit those now, as we are going to go on to the next question for Chris. What topics are brides and couples looking for?
I'll speak on the groom side of this. Historically for us, the content that grooms seek out is a little different than brides. Rehearsal dinner planning is a big one for us because that's traditionally, although now it's more of a shared cost, I see that happening more and more. It's still, grooms are doing the majority of the research on that. Gifts and style are huge for guys, and then of course, we get a lot of incoming traffic from family and friends of the groom searching for bachelor party ideas. So I'll say we're going to be very different answers than probably what you're going to hear next, but that's what does well for us. And again, back to my previous answer, the reason we know that is just studying our Google Analytics, and it's such a powerful tool, and I would always highly recommend being aware of what's going on in your analytics.
So we also look closely at our analytics to see kind of what's trending, not only on Loverly, but across our blog sites that we work with. And surprisingly, the number one search from Google that drives the most traffic for us is wedding playlists. People asking for Mother of the Bride, groom dance songs or first dance songs. So it's a really random little nugget, but it does really well for us. And so we make sure that, on a quarterly basis that we update those lists and we put that content out there. And then generally, we actually get most of our traffic from very specific long tail searches. So someone might type in, do I have to invite my ex-husband's daughter to my daughter's wedding, like something extreme like that, and that's how a lot of people find us. I think also when you're looking for content and what to write about and what's hot, what people want to know, sometimes you get tired of just posting the same real weddings or the content that you have over and over, and you want something kind of fresh. So I find that brides are very engaged on our site with looking for other things that you do or that we do outside of weddings that kind of show who we are, recipes, DIYs, things that show your style, not necessarily within weddings, but maybe within holiday or seasons or things like that. And again, when you're talking about what's trending and what topics are happening seasonally, and you're ahead of the curve with holidays coming up, and you're posting content in November that's relates to December, in December that relates to February, people are searching that content. So looking at your personal style and how it can relate to the blog as well.
We, at the Knot, we hold a Facebook chat every Wednesday from 1 to 2, and it's called Etiquette Wednesday. And we have a lot of mostly brides who come on here and ask questions. And I think that they're really looking for something personal. And while they love to look at flower ideas and dress ideas and those types of things, they have real concerns, that are very specific to them. So I think that if you can kind of tap into, we like to call them hot topics, those topics that maybe aren't, super sexy or super fun to talk about, but they're actual concerns. So if you can really get into their psyche and answer a question that so many couples have, I think that can be really powerful.
Think Splendid actually did a survey recently, and they found that couples wanted more real weddings on blogs than any other kind of content. So if you're a vendor and you have that opportunity, I think that's a great way to show your work, but also to draw in a longer engagement with the couple. On JetFed, our destination site, it's a little different. It's very specific to that market. We get a ton of traffic on choral weddings. So choral is something that, like the list that Kelly republishes, we constantly look for choral content. We also get a lot of traffic from people looking for actual products related to destination weddings, because when you're having a destination wedding, you're looking for a ticket, save the date, or a shell favor card or something to that effect. So we get a lot of searches for actual products. So it's very specific to what you do. And then it's a little bit different for bridal bars. So I think that kind of the balance between the two has been the best for us, at least moving forward. That's how we're continuing to do it. The other thing, too, someone mentioned the DIY. Pinterest has shifted what they're focusing on, and they're actually moving more towards tutorials. So that search, because that's where they're seeing their search traffic increase. So if you pin your images from your website and you have a brand that a tutorial is relevant to what you do, you may want to up those posts, because Pinterest is going to be driving more traffic your way because of it.
Okay. Now, we did have a few questions that came in. I don't know if IO Planner is here, but one of the questions she talks, and I think is a great question, is how can solo entrepreneurs keep pace with bloggers that have a whole team of writers? I think this is a great question. So anybody want to jump in? I know you have the mic. Who wants to talk first?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think it's really important to know your business and to know what your goals of blogging are, first and foremost. So with Loverly, we're a content site. That's our business, is to inspire brides and to put out content 3 to 5 times a day. If you're a vendor, no matter what your service provider is, whatever you offer, you need to figure out what is the goal of blogging, and based on that, come up with a schedule that makes sense for you. You're not going to compete with HuffPost Weddings or The Knot or Loverly or bloggers who are putting out content 3 to 5 times a day. So it's not about keeping up with the Joneses. It's more, how can this actual function of blogging help you build your business. And based on that, creating benchmarks and goals that will allow you to achieve those. So whether a goal might be to help you with organic search on Google, so SEO, that's a valid reason. Google actually rewards people who update their sites often. So if you are posting once a week or twice a month, that's going to help you show up in the rankings. And if it's, I don't know what else another reason would be to show off your work. That's also a good reason. It's like a fresher kind of way to update your portfolio. But you need to figure out what your goal, why are you blogging? Because you don't need to blog just to blog, because it's very time intensive, and you want to make sure that there's going to be some type of ROI for the time that you're spending in actually putting out that content.
Okay, I'm going to go on to our next question, which is, what methods do you use to gain traffic or subscribers to your blog? Because some people kind of struggle with that.
Sure. I can start with that.
Okay.
So one thing that really works well for us is that we truly, when we do a blog post, we engage with readers, and we use social media to really engage and connect so that our readers feel like we have a community, they're a part of something, and they read the content, they see it on Instagram, they interact, they engage. If I can get a call to action to get them to go to the site, that's a great option to do. So when you're using social media to promote your blog post, provide a call to action. If you just put on there, link in profile, or check out this blog post today, my tips, with a link, that's not usually, when they're getting bombarded with content on Twitter or Instagram, it's just they're gonna skip right over that. They're not gonna click on the link. But if you can give them a call to action to get them to the site and reward them when they get there, are you doing a contest? Are you randomly selecting them? Are you highlighting something? You're giving them something great to see when they get there, and then what? And once they're there, what do you do? So a lot of people usually put up a blog post and then they go away. They go dark. It's like you go and you post something and then you don't come back for a month. And so you want to build credibility with your reader. If you've got a bride who wants to go to your site constantly to see what you're saying and what your tips are, and you're only on there once a month doing that, they don't feel that credibility. Like, well, is she in business? Is he or she, how often are they on here? So if you're engaging, what we find works is engaging, commenting back, tweeting back, writing, anyone that Instagram writes you on Instagram, writing them all back, making them feel like there's someone behind this brand and this profile, not just, such and such events, and we don't do anything but just post content and go away. We actually talk to our brides, we talk to other vendors, we build relationships. So.
We approach it from a variety of different angles. I don't think there's one thing that's a golden ticket unless you have 5 million Instagram followers. Then lucky you. You probably don't have to blog. But we obviously weigh heavily on our SEO tools, search engine optimization for our images and our text. We use traditional media and the press to brand ourselves as experts and drive traffic through that. Of course, we use social media. But I think the thing that people forget, or like Lila was saying, you kind of go dead once you've posted it, is the power of two. So if you're blogging a real wedding and there were 20 wedding vendors in that wedding, if you make it valuable for them to share to their feeds as well that you've just blogged their work, by positioning your blog as sort of the gold standard, here's what we've just done, and here's this amazing creative team that we've worked with, you're promoting them, you're linking them, and then you're sharing with those other vendors that you've just done that or that you're going to do that, and give them the tools to then promote your post as well. Now you've got 20 different vendors promoting one real wedding post and not just one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anybody else?
We have found that for us at Loverly, Facebook is a very, very powerful tool for promoting and pushing content. And some interesting things have been happening with Facebook in the last 2 years. A year ago, they decided that they wanted to be everyone's news feed. So they wanted to compete against Twitter. So they actually were promoting people who were putting out editorial content. So those would show up as top of the feed. And so when we started putting out, we tripled the amount of posts we were doing on Facebook. We were posting 10 to 15 times a day. And again, we're a content site, so that's part of our job. But as we did that, we saw a huge increase in engagement and traffic. The other thing that Facebook has done that I think is really powerful, going back to what Harmony was saying, is their algorithm is based on how many people are sharing and engaging in that content. So if you are involved in a real wedding and you push it onto Facebook, in order to get your organic reach to be way higher than it would be just from you doing it, having all the other vendors involved put it on their Facebook automatically gives it that lift, and Facebook will be like, that's actually good content. People are organically sharing it. We should show that into people's feeds. So leveraging the fact that there's other people involved is super powerful, and for us, Facebook is our #1 driver of traffic at this point.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and go on to the next question because I know we want to try to get through as many questions as we can. Do you have any guest bloggers that you have come onto your site to write articles?
Sure, I can speak to that. We actually did a blogger partnership for Bridal Fashion Week this past April, and we, we're going after the millennial couples, and we reached out to some fashion bloggers with they have lots of social clout, lots of followers, beautiful blogs, and they were all recently engaged. And so we invited them out to Bridal Fashion Week, took them to a few shows, and we actually gained 7,000 followers in 3 days on Instagram. So they can be extremely powerful tools to have these guest bloggers and have these people kind of be brand ambassadors for you.
As a rule of thumb, my sites typically don't welcome guest bloggers simply because the volume of terrible pitches that we get is so high that rather than responding to 250 people a day that we would never partner with, we just sort of have a blanket no policy. That is different for Instagram. I think that, like what Kristen was saying, we have done some very powerful swaps and things like that on Instagram. We will do a guest post if it is event driven, or if maybe there's a trip or an experience driven where someone is going somewhere that we don't have access to or can't go to, and they can provide very unique content. But typically we'll do it in more of the form of a Q&A, so it's still our voice with their content.
We have a very different approach. We have 2 editors internally, and then we have about 6 freelancers that are constantly pitching and contributing content. And then we have about 30 contributors that we work with that have very specific domain expertise. So, 3 that focus on, they are beauty bloggers. And so if they come across a great idea that they think is great for brides to know, we invite them to contribute for us. And actually, we should probably have you contribute some content. I think it makes sense because we're not writing that much for guys right now. But we look to find experts who are the best at what they do, and we see our platform more as we curate for you. So we'll find the best of the best, we'll bring them, and we'll figure out what's the best kind of content to share with our audience. And always going back to Harmony's point is, it's important to make sure that whatever you're doing, it's on brand for you. And so making sure that, you do get lots of pitches from people saying, I want to contribute. And 99% of the time, you're going to say no to those. But if there is a true brand affinity, if the content is great, there's no reason why, for us, we would not want to have someone contribute on our platform.
How are we doing over there? I'm going to turn it around and talk about you guest blogging on other sites, which is it's a great way to, for no cost, get your name out there. Now the trade-off is how many people are going to see it, so you need to partner with the right sites. But contrary to what Google came out last year and their spam team said guest blogging is dead, and that's not true. But you need to do it for the right reasons. If you're guest blogging to get links to help your SEO, that is dead. And you will be penalized, and your business will potentially be destroyed overnight the next time Google updates their Penguin algorithm. So, and it has happened. It's put people I know out of business overnight. So if you do guest blog for other sites, ask them to no follow the links that are coming back into your site, because the last thing you want is Google thinking that you're trying to game the system. They don't like people trying to get around their reasoning behind their algorithms. But it is very important. Guest blogging is alive and well. Just do it for the right reasons. Do it to get quality content out there and to help grow your brand and your name.
Yeah. My next question is, and this is kind of we get the spammers, the one that just want to comment about their products or their Michael Kors purses or whatever it is. How do you handle that?
It's impossible to handle it on your own unless you want that to be your full-time job, is just deleting spam comments. Again, I'm familiar with WordPress. They've got some great spam blocking plugins. That's the easy answer to it. Just use a plugin that basically blocks out anyone trying to post their link, or makes you approve posts that are comments that are going to be show up on the post.
To what Chris was saying, and I think all of us are going to say a very similar sentiment on this, for the spam comments, within WordPress you can use different plugins, and we used the Discuss plugin. It's a really great one to use. It can block spammers. It's also great to be able to write people back and engage, because I'm really big into that. So that's a great way for you to have conversations when someone says, love that dress, or love those flowers, how did you do that, or what is that, is it a peony? Always write them back. But that's a great plugin, the Discuss app within WordPress to use.
Okay. Is everybody? Oh.
I think we all do the same thing.
Okay. That's funny. But anyway, as far as there was actually a question from our audience. I'm not sure she is here right now, but she was actually talking about what are the best strategies to monetize your blog. So I'm not sure who wants to do that one first.
I can speak to that.
And that's the lawyer bride. I don't know if she's here.
So one of the reasons why I started Loverly, I actually was working with Lila, and I was helping her at Be Inspired PR and managing Inspired by This. And when you get to a point where your blog starts to get a very healthy monthly active users of anywhere from 10 to maybe you're at 500,000 people coming to your website on a monthly basis, anywhere in that range, once you get to 10,000, it starts to make sense to actually make money off of. And so we actually launched at Loverly. One of the main things that we offer is we represent 40 of the biggest wedding bloggers, and we actually put ad code on their site, and we go and we sell advertising specifically to brands who are focused on this audience. So women 18 to 35 is typically the demo that we have, and we work with brands like Target, Crate & Barrel, David's Bridal, Best Buy, because they just launched a registry. So it's an option. Obviously, with us, we don't work with a lot of bloggers. There's a certain level of traffic that we require, but finding niche networks is a great way to have start making money. And then there's always just Google AdSense. You can throw that up. You can actually block different types of ads that you feel maybe are not on brand for you. So I would say AdSense is like version 1, and then version 2 would be to join some type of publisher network. Loverly is focused specifically on weddings, but there's Glam Media, there's Federated Media, there's a bunch of them. But that's one of the things that we do as a service for our blog partners that contribute content to Loverly.
I think she said, just in general, an ad network, but Google AdSense, I think, for a blogger who's just kind of creating content regularly, has a decent amount of followers, it's very easy to set up yourself, or have someone that that's a little bit more techie, because I say that's easy. I don't do it myself. I have help. So don't think that, you have to do everything yourself if you know someone that can help you. But I think that's a great way to start seeing if you get any traction on that. You might not. And so before you start getting overwhelmed with, how do I make money and how do I join these ad networks, you can start very basic with Google AdSense.
There's a thing called banner blindness that is talked about a lot where couples or shoppers are paying attention less to banners. We definitely have banners and ads on our site, but we're focused more now on affiliate marketing and integrated content. If you are, say you post a lot about things you find on Etsy because you're obsessed with Etsy, you can actually sign up to be an affiliate blogger of theirs, where you start earning revenue based on purchases that are sent to Etsy through your site. So find brands that you already like working with, that you maybe already chat about, and see if they have an affiliate program. There are also affiliate companies that are sort of parent companies that will direct you to those, like Share a Sale. There are a couple other big networks like that. And then we're actually part of a new blogging community called Isle Society that launches in October. Right now it's limited to 30 wedding bloggers, but they are going to be opening it up, and they're going to actually be funneling styled content down to bloggers as one of the many ways that they're driving revenue to their blog partners. So say Target wants a styled shoot about, a holiday theme. They're going to actually be funneling that cash down to the blogger to then create the content and post a sponsored or integrated post onto their site.
Mm-hmm. Well, my next question is basically, how do you schedule to write, and do you ever get writer's block?
I think you just have to be very disciplined about it. You have to decide what is the best time for you during the week. When are you at your best? Is it in the morning? Is it in the afternoon? And always, whatever you schedule, whether it's once a week, whether it's every day, sit down and be disciplined and write for that hour. Even if it's not great writing, it's going to take practice, and you just have to be very disciplined about it.
Same.
Okay. I guess my next question would be more about grammar. If those individuals struggle with grammar, what things can they do for that?
Just very simply, have another pair of eyes, read it and look at it, especially when you're up late at night and your kids are in bed and you're like, oh, I'll try to throw up a blog post and get it going, and you're tired and you just write something and you have a couple misspells. It's just always great to copy and paste, put an email and say, can you read this, and does it make sense? And that will really help, kind of have a second pair of eyes looking on that for you. And I think knowing a couple key words that get misspelled a lot in our space, that we want to make sure that we as wedding experts, as people in the industry, creating a brand and getting, connecting with brides, we want to make sure that you're spelling certain words like stationery correctly with an E, not an A, things like that, that a bride will notice or other vendors will notice. So key words that you should probably be getting right. And flowers are a really good one too, to make sure you're spelling correctly, because they are very heavily searched. So making sure they're complicated to spell, but Google them and then have a second pair of eyes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've only got about 5 minutes left. So it's going to be hard for me to figure out which one of these questions to use. But, okay, I think this is probably the best. This would be question 13. Do you schedule blog posts or post on certain days? So, somebody I think also in the audience was wondering if there's certain days that are better than others.
We are very data-driven in how we put out content. So we actually are constantly looking at Google Analytics. There's a number of analytics platforms that can make recommendations. So, for example, on Instagram, we have essentially a timeline that we know is when the most active users are on. And so that's where we schedule our posts there. And same thing with Twitter, same thing with Facebook. So all 3 of those platforms have analytics that you can actually look at to help you figure out when's the best time to push content out. As far as publishing content, I think that you can put it out whenever you're ready to put it out. I think it's important to have a consistent schedule so your audience knows that they're going to be able to get some fresh content, whether it's every Monday or every Tuesday. But the promotion of that content, I think, is what you really can optimize, how often and where and when you push it out.
I would echo the Google Analytics usage here. We found that couples like to buy their groomsmen and bridesmaid gifts on Sunday nights but only through organic search, not through any ad initiatives that we're taking part in. So we learned that, and it's helped grow our business exponentially. And regarding scheduling, and I know we're not talking specifically about social media here, but it does kind of relate. Anytime you're scheduling posts, you have to schedule posts if you're going to be any kind of power blog or if you're going to blog regularly, because you can't just be at your laptop or computer to fire off tweets and Facebook posts. You have to take part in scheduling, but you need to be aware if there's a national crisis that pops up or something major in the news, pull your scheduled posts. That's it could be bad PR for your business to be tweeting about whatever your business is when there's something bad going on in the world. So that would be a strong piece of advice that I would lend.
Anybody else with closing thoughts? Okay. All right, we're going to have to close this out, but at this point, we always do this every week on Twitter. We give everyone a chance to introduce themselves with the Wedding Market hashtag. You just do one tweet, tell them it's, include the Wedding MBA as well as the Wedding Market hashtag, and introduce yourself. This is a national chat every week. We do this at Wednesday, 1 o'clock Eastern. I want to thank Forever Grand Weddings for sponsoring our chat today, as well as Wedflick. And please join us every week. And I want to say thank you so much for our great panel. They will be out in the hallway if you have other questions, but we will be taking a picture first. Thank you.